Welcome back to This Week. Time now to get the views of our media and political experts, Metro Councilman at Large and Democratic Operative Jerry Maynard, and heard daily on 1510 WLAC syndicated talk show host Steve Gill. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
This was Mitt Romney's week, his coming out party Thursday night as he delivered his speech, which Republicans hope would be a solid message, a humanizing effort, kind of trying to connect with all members of the party. Did he succeed?
I don't think it succeeded, and I've got a problem with the Republicans. They talk about principled leadership with Mitt Romney, and yet he's flip-flopped on every major issue, from being pro-choice to going pro-life, being for gun control against gun control, for gay rights now against gay rights. What's principled about that? When I talk to my conservative friends, not Republican friends, but conservative friends, they know he is not a true conservative. He's an opportunist, and I think that he did not sell it to the American people, the independents, the Republicans and Democrats who are moderates in that middle, to say to him, this is what I stand for, this is the real me. We did not get the real Mitt Romney. I believe it's still a question mark, and I think Obama is going to be able to fill in that mark.
But Steve disagrees.
Not surprisingly, Jerry is not for the Republican nominee for President of the United States. I'll take the allegations that didn't work in the primary that Mitt Romney has flip-flopped against the consistently wrong President of the United States that we have. You know, the bottom of the line is that they were able to show not just the future of the Republican Party with folks like Susana Martinez, with Marco Rubio, with the vice presidential nominee Paul Ryan and others, but show that kind of broad expanse of folks that didn't get a lot of attention sometimes in the mainstream media, who looked the other way, rather than show the Condoleezza Rices, rather than show the faces and the voices of the Republican Party that is a lot more diverse than it's painted by the mainstream media. And I think that they did show and humanize Mitt Romney in a way that he doesn't have to be more likable than Barack Obama. You're not going to be more cool. You're not going to be more likable than Obama. He just has to be likable enough, and I think they accomplished that.
What did you think of his speech? I thought it was really two speeches. I thought the first half, actually, I thought was one of the better speeches he's given. The second half, to me, was more stump-oriented. We kind of heard it before. I don't think he delivered it quite as well. But the first part, I thought, was really maybe the best I've seen him on TV, delivering it from the heart.
I think the challenge for both him and President Obama next week is, for those of us that are involved in politics, that may be more red meat kind of politics folks, you know, Jerry on the left, me on the right, they're not talking to us. Barack Obama doesn't need to talk to the left, and Mitt Romney doesn't need to fire up and enthuse the right.
They're fired up.
They're already enthused. Yep. What he's doing, and I think what Obama will do next week as well, is to reach out to that muddled middle, the independents, the swing voters, the disaffected blue-collar Democrats. And the piece talked a little bit about the gender gap that Mitt Romney has with women, but the gender gap that Romney has with women is almost identical to the gender gap that Barack Obama has with men. So everybody's going to be reaching to move those swing votes in the middle, which means I think you'll see the Democratic convention, kind of like the Republican, not be as fiery, not be as radical as you maybe have seen in conventions past.
This is why Mitt failed. Mitt failed because Obama is saying in ads that Mitt Romney will be just like George W. Bush. And so you had 8 years of George W. Bush. Mitt Romney should have given more detail. I know in a conventional speech you should not give a lot of detail and be wonkish, but you've got to get some detail. You know why? Because everybody is saying from the left and from progressives is that he's going to be Bush squared. He's going to give another 8 years of George W. Bush if he's elected. And Mitt Romney did not do anything to counter that.
Well, we've heard that same argument, though, throughout the primary, where hundreds of millions of dollars were spent dumping on Romney. Obama spent hundreds of millions of dollars dumping on Romney in these battleground states, and you're seeing Romney in a dead heat or leading in these states, and he has not spent the money and has the money in hold to be able to spend these last 66 days in a way that Barack Obama's never had to contend
with. But the reason why Mitt Romney is not winning, he should be up by 5 or 6 points given 8% unemployment rate. The reason why he's not up is because he has not defined what he will do when he gets in office. Everybody knows, Republicans and Democrats, he's not been detailed, specific in what he will do as president. And because of that, Obama's been able to define him with those hundreds of millions of dollars of ads, because Mitt Romney has not said what he will do except for cut taxes and deregulate, which led us in the problems we have right now.
And he has to do that between now and November. Paul Ryan, the first generation Xer on a political ticket, a presidential ticket, will he energize youth on both parties? And also, is he going to be the target here? His speech was criticized by the Democrats, by some of the media, as being filled with misinformation, falsities, as it were.
Well, first of all, his speech was filled with lies, number one. The plant in Jamestown, whatever that city he grew up in, it closed in December of 2008. They only had 12 employees as of April 2009. So when Barack Obama said, I want to make sure this plant continues to live for another 100 years, it closed before he became president. There was nothing he could do. But guess what happened? For all those plants that were still alive, pro-life, guess what Obama did? By bailing them out, we created over hundreds and hundreds of thousands of jobs in Ohio, Wisconsin, and Michigan, and that's why we're going to win those 3 states.
I think the 17 million or so people who are unemployed, the 377,000 who filed new unemployment claims last week aren't going to buy into the great resurgence under the Obama economy that they're trying to sell. I think the other thing is when you look at these swing states, Wisconsin is a state that Barack Obama carried by about 14 votes last time. With Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan together, that's a state that they're now moving into the lead. You look at Ohio, you look at Florida. Every state that Barack Obama carried by more than double digits last time is either a dead heat or a slight Romney lead at this point. So he may not be 5 or 6 points ahead, but we may be headed there.
Senator Alexander gave an interesting speech to Tampa to Democrats down there, to Republicans down there, saying, be careful of having the power, of being the majority party, of winning in the South, not being as inclusive enough as you should be. Is he saying that the right is too powerful, that more moderates, other people need to have more say in the party? What is he saying exactly?
Well, can I address the minority issue? Because when you see all of these elected officials being on television, and you don't see in the audience that you have people who are diverse, like you'll see in the Democratic Party, it's about policy. It's about tone, like Jeb Bush. Thank God Jeb Bush is not on the ticket. I'd be scared, because Jeb Bush got it right. It's about your tone, and it's about your policy. It's not about putting up every minority that you have elected up there to have a speech.
Well, I think we're going to see whether black voters in particular will vote policies or whether they will vote skin color. Last election, they voted skin color. You now have black pastors who are speaking out against gay marriage, who are speaking from the pulpit and speaking policy ahead of race, and we're going to see if that plays
Steve,
at all.
Are you suggesting that black people only voted for Obama because he's black?
I'm saying that when you look at 95% of one race voting for one person, there is a racial element to that, and you're seeing it play out in this election.
We're Democrats. 9 out of 10 black people are Democrats. That's why they voted Democratically.
And most Democrats oppose gay marriage, and yet you're seeing black pastors preach from their pulpit that this is wrong, and you should not back a guy who goes against God's word.
I love Steve Gill. He's my friend. But don't suggest that black people only voted for Obama because he's black. That's not true.
You see white folks voting for an Allen West. You see them voting for a Mia Love. You see them Rick Scott. You do not see in districts that are 95% black getting white people elected. So show me the examples where black folks cross against the aisle and vote against their race.
We've got to leave it here. We'll come back next week when the Democrats meet. Steve Gill, Jerry Maynard, appreciate your time. Stay with us. This Week continues in a moment.